You've brought us some really interesting material to delve into today. It's all centered around HPV and how it interacts with vaginal health.
Hmm.
It's a topic that touches so many lives, with millions of new HPV infections happening each year. And while a lot of those are, well, no big deal,
Right.
we really want to get under the hood and understand how HPV can affect the vaginal environment specifically.
Hmm.
And what are the key takeaways for supporting your health in this context?
Absolutely. It's crucial to understand that while HPV is common, its potential to disrupt the delicate balance of the vaginal ecosystem. Well, it's significant. Like,
Okay.
we're not just talking about the virus itself, but its ripple effects, things
Right.
like the microbiome and the body's ability to fend off other issues.
Okay, so the information you shared lays out a hive key ways HPV can kind of rock the boat down there.
Mm.
Let's start with the vaginal microbiome. Now, for anyone tuning in who hasn't heard that term before, it's basically the community of bacteria that lives in the vagina, and it plays this massive role in keeping things healthy, especially by maintaining a slightly acidic pH, usually between, 3.8 and 4.5?
That's right. Think of the lactobacillus species as the garden keepers of this microbial community.
Well,
They produce lactic acid, which creates that acidic shield. What's fascinating, and what the source points out, is that an HPV infection can actually lead to a decrease in these beneficial lactobacillus bacteria.
ah,
So it's not just the virus we're dealing with, but a domino effect where the loss of good bacteria opens the door to a host of other problems. It's like pulling out the good flowers in a garden and suddenly the weeds thrive.
right. And as the source points out, this shift unfortunately makes you more susceptible to things like bacterial vaginosis or BV and yeast infections.
Exactly.
So a viral issue can directly pave the way for bacterial and fungal problems, like a double whammy.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second impact, chronic inflammation. The information you provided highlights that HPV can cause ongoing inflammation in the tissues of the vagina and cervix.
Right.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, chronic inflammation anywhere in the body is generally, a sign of imbalance.
Right. It's like the body's alarm system is just stuck in the on position. And in this case, this persistent inflammation weakens the epithelial barrier that's the lining of the vagina and cervix,
Yeah.
making it more vulnerable to all sorts of unwelcome guests.
Oh, precisely. A compromised barrier alongside a potentially out-of-whack microbiome creates a much less resilient environment. This directly contributes to the third point,
Hmm.
that increased susceptibility to those secondary infections we just talked about, BV, yeast infections, even UTIs. It becomes a bit of a vicious cycle.
It definitely makes sense. If your local defenses are busy dealing with HPV, they're going to be less equipped to handle other invaders.
Right.
The fourth point touches on this directly, the strain on the immune system.
Right.
We know the immune system is the body's natural defense force for clearing HPV in the first place.
What's important to understand here is that while the immune system is actively trying to manage the HPV infection, the local immune defenses within the vaginal area can become, well, somewhat overwhelmed. It's like the security guards are a bit preoccupied dealing with one intruder and are less able to handle others trying to sneak in.
That's a really clear way to put it. And finally, the fifth impact is the one we often hear most about, the elevated risk of cancer.
Yes.
The source clearly states that high-risk HPV types can cause changes in the cervical cells, which is called dysplasia. So dysplasia is essentially, it's a change in the cervical cells that isn't yet cancer, but could become cancer if not addressed.
Correct.
And if these changes aren't monitored and treated, they can potentially progress to cervical cancer. This really underscores why taking care of your vaginal and cervical health is so crucial, especially when HPV is involved.
Exactly. So we've seen how HPV can disrupt the vaginal environment in a number of interconnected ways. It not only directly affects cells, but also weakens your first line of defense, the vaginal microbiome, making you vulnerable to other infections.
Mm-hmm.
This brings us to the next vital part of the information you shared, the importance of vaginal health in actually managing HPV. It's not just about waiting for the virus to clear, it's about actively creating an internal environment that's less favorable to problems.
Right. The source emphasizes that a healthy vaginal environment can really support the immune system's ability to do its job, which includes managing and potentially even clearing the virus. Plus, as we've already touched on, it significantly reduces the likelihood of those bothersome and sometimes more serious secondary infections.
And the information you provided outlines 4 key strategies for actively supporting vaginal health in this context. The first is all about restoring and maintaining that microbial balance we discussed earlier.
Okay.
And this is where the role of probiotics becomes really interesting.
Yes. The source specifically highlights some key lactobacillus strains,
Mhm.
Acidophilus, rhamnosus, reuteri, plantarum, and also Bacillus coagulans.
Mhm.
It explains that these beneficial bacteria can essentially help replenish the good guys in the vaginal environment, help bring the pH back to its optimal acidic level, and even make it harder for those, not-so-friendly microbes to thrive.
What's fascinating here is that different lactobacillus strains can have slightly different strengths. For example, Lactobacillus acidophilus is particularly good at producing lactic acid, which is key for maintaining that protective low pH.
Right.
Including a variety of these strains can offer a more comprehensive approach to supporting the vaginal microbiome.
The second strategy focuses on reducing inflammation,
Mm.
which we know HPV can trigger.
Yeah.
The source points to ingredients like aloe vera and reishi mushroom for this.
Yeah.
It says they can help soothe those irritated tissues and promote healing, which sounds like it could offer real comfort.
Absolutely. Aloe vera has long been recognized for its soothing and anti-inflammatory properties, almost like a topical balm that can work internally. And reishi mushroom, as an adaptogen, can help the body manage inflammation and support overall resilience.
The third strategy is all about supporting the immune system itself. The source mentions nutrients like arabinol-galactan and, interestingly, reishi mushroom again.
Mhm.
It says these can actually enhance the body's ability to manage those HPV infections.
That's right. Arabinogalactin is a type of prebiotic fiber that can also stimulate the activity of certain immune cells, helping your body mount a stronger defense. And reishi mushroom's adaptogenic properties extend to helping the immune system function optimally in response to challenges like viral infections.
And the final key strategy is preventing those secondary infections. The source highlights natural antimicrobial agents like oregano leaf extract and caprylic acid.
Right.
It explains that these can help keep the levels of unwanted bacteria and fungi in check, contributing to a healthier overall vaginal environment.
Exactly. Oregano oil, for example, contains compounds known for their broad-spectrum antimicrobial effects. And caprylic acid, a medium-chain fatty acid found in coconut oil, has notable antifungal properties, which can be particularly helpful in preventing yeast overgrowth.
Now, the information you shared also talks about a specific product called Balance Complex,
Yes.
presented as a comprehensive vaginal health supplement designed to tackle these very issues we've been discussing: microbial balance, inflammation reduction, and immune support.
What's interesting to note here is how Balance Complex brings together many of the key types of ingredients we've just been discussing. It's positioned as a premium product that has been available for quite some time and has garnered a significant customer base.
Right. It boasts a pretty impressive list of ingredients.
Yeah.
First up is a vaginal probiotic blend with a very high count at 100 billion CFU per gram. That's
Yeah.
a very high concentration, indicating a potentially powerful dose of these beneficial bacteria, especially when compared to some over-the-counter options.
It is quite high.
It lists those lactobacillus strains we mentioned, Acidophilus, rhamnosus, reuteri, plantarum, as well as Bacillus coagulans, detailing their specific roles like helping to maintain a healthy pH and boosting the immune response in the mucosal lining.
Including a variety of lactobacillus strains aims to provide a broad range of benefits for the vaginal microbiome, as different strains can colonize different areas and have slightly different mechanisms of action. The addition of Bacillus coagulans, a spore-forming probiotic, is also noteworthy for its resilience,
Ah, okay.
as it can better survive the acidic environment of the stomach to reach the intestines and eventually the vaginal area.
Interesting. It also contains a cranberry and demonose blend. The source explains that cranberry helps prevent bacteria from sticking to the walls of the urinary tract, while demonose helps flush them out. And importantly, it says this blend does this without negatively affecting the vaginal microbiome, which is a nice distinction.
That's a smart inclusion, yeah. Urinary tract infections can sometimes be a recurring issue for women, and addressing both vaginal and urinary health in one supplement could be a convenient approach.
Then there's oregano leaf extract and caprylic acid, which, as we discussed, are those natural antimicrobial agents. It's interesting to see them included in this formulation,
Mm-hmm.
further emphasizing the focus on managing potential overgrowth of less beneficial microbes. The inclusion of 400 milligrams of caprylic acid, for example, suggests a targeted approach towards managing potential fungal overgrowth, as this is often a clinically relevant dosage.
It really underscores the multifaceted approach the supplement seems to be taking.
They also include protease and cellulase, which are enzymes. The source explains they help break down biofilms. Think of biofilms like a sticky fortress that bad bacteria can build to protect themselves from your immune system and even from treatments. The enzymes, protease and cellulase, work to break down this fortress, making the microbes more vulnerable. That sounds like it could be a really helpful addition.
It is. Biofilms can indeed make it more challenging for the body to clear infections, so including enzymes to disrupt them can be a significant benefit.
The list goes on: aloe vera for soothing inflammation, arabinogalactin for immune support, aniseed for its antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory benefits in the vaginal area, black walnut hulls for antibacterial and antifungal properties and support for detoxification, wormwood, traditionally used against microbial infections and for strengthening the immune system, and finally reishi mushroom for immune resilience and reducing inflammation. It's quite a comprehensive blend.
It certainly appears to be formulated to address multiple aspects of vaginal health that can be affected by HPV, from the crucial microbiome to managing inflammation and bolstering the immune system.
The source also shares some of the marketing points for Balance Complex, mentioning its long presence on the market, the significant number of capsules sold, the high volume of positive reviews, and the fact that it's produced in facilities that are registered with the FDA and follow good manufacturing practices, or GMP. They also highlight a money-back satisfaction guarantee.
These are all factors that companies often highlight, to build consumer confidence and demonstrate product quality and customer satisfaction.
Okay. Beyond supplements, the information you shared also gives us some practical tips for supporting vaginal health when dealing with HPV. The first one is something we all know is important for so many reasons: practicing safe intimacy by consistently using condoms.
Absolutely. While condoms may not offer complete protection against HPV transmission in all cases, due to skin-to-skin contact,
Right.
they are still a vital tool for reducing the risk of other sexually transmitted infections that could potentially complicate things.
The second tip focuses on proper hygiene. It emphasizes using gentle, fragrance-free cleansers and strongly advises against douching, which we know can really disrupt that delicate vaginal microbiome we've been talking about. The vagina is largely self-cleaning, right? And harsh products or douching can throw off the natural balance and actually create more problems.
That's a really key point. Maintaining a natural balance is often the best defense.
The third practical tip is all about diet, maintaining a balanced diet that includes foods that support your immune system, like those rich in vitamin C and E, zinc, and even probiotics from food sources. It's a good reminder that overall health and local health are very much connected.
Precisely. Nourishing your body with essential nutrients provides the building blocks for a strong immune system, which, as we've discussed, plays a critical role in managing HPV and maintaining a healthy vaginal environment.
The fourth tip focuses on managing stress through practices like yoga, meditation, or even just taking some deep breaths.
Yeah.
It highlights that chronic stress can weaken the immune system and potentially make you more susceptible to HPV-related issues. The connection between our mental and physical well-being is so important.
It absolutely is. Finding healthy ways to manage stress can have a positive impact on overall health, including the health of the vaginal microbiome and immune function.
And finally, the fifth practical tip is to get regular screenings, those pap smears and HPV tests, as recommended by your healthcare provider.
Crucial.
This is so crucial for the early detection of any precancerous changes that might arise. Regular screenings are really the cornerstone of preventing cervical cancer, as they allow for timely intervention if any abnormal cells are detected.
Absolutely. Early detection makes all the difference.
Lastly, the information you provided also mentions vaginalquiz.com. It's described as a quick science-backed quiz that can give you a personalized overview of your vaginal health in under 2 minutes. It's free and private and designed for women's intimate wellness. It suggests it might identify potential imbalances and offer suggestions backed by experts, possibly including recommendations for supplements or daily habits tailored to your individual responses. It's framed as a way to potentially gain some insights without the immediate need for a doctor's appointment or, sifting through endless information online.
Tools like this can be a helpful starting point for individuals to become more aware of their vaginal health and potential issues. However, it's always important to remember that online quizzes should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Good point.
If you have specific concerns, consulting with a healthcare provider is always the best course of action.
Absolutely. So to bring it all together, it really seems that managing HPV's impact on vaginal health is a multi-pronged approach. It centers on supporting that delicate microbial balance, actively working to reduce inflammation, and strengthening the body's natural immune defenses, just as highlighted in the material you shared.
Right.
But focusing on these interconnected areas, you can take proactive steps to support your vaginal health while navigating HPV.
That's a well-put summary. It's about creating an environment within the body that is resilient and less hospitable to imbalance.
Now, for you, our listener, think about what we've discussed today. Which of these aspects really stood out to you? Were you surprised by just how directly HPV can influence the vaginal microbiome and open the door to other infections?
Hmm.
Or did the strategies for supporting vaginal health give you some practical ideas to consider incorporating into your routine? Perhaps the information about Balance Complex or vaginalquiz.com sparked your curiosity based on your individual needs and the information we've presented.
This brings up an interesting point for further consideration. Given this intricate relationship between HPV and vaginal health, what other factors that we haven't touched on today might play a significant role in this interplay? Perhaps exploring the influence of hormonal fluctuations throughout a woman's life, or delving deeper into the complexities of the broader systemic immune response, could offer even more profound insights into maintaining optimal vaginal health in the context of HPV. It's a fascinating area with many layers still to explore.